It's pretty easy to like balance a rock paper scissors or like balance a chess when you have symmetrical things. But if you want your game to be interesting, if you want asymmetry, it is very hard to balance asymmetry like that. And while you could go the approach of looking for total balance by making the game more symmetrical, having all the decks do sort of the same thing, you don't want to do that. There's a reason why the people are playing card games rather than playing chess or rock, paper, scissors. It is, in fact, more important to make sure your game is making interesting effects. Am I really locking this? You can't, like, let the strive for balance disrupt the creativity of the devs to make interesting abilities. Didn't I just have the shot? Oh. Expect everything to be equal. No, but anytime any deck was doing something that was like kind of unique but strong, people got mad at it. Even if it wasn't like dominating. Hey, Black Eyes 3, thanks for the Prime. Thanks for the 3 months. Welcome back. Okay. Art style prompts people to expect more fun and less balance. I mean, it's the type of game it is too, right? Like, the funny thing about Gwent was, like, Homecoming launched, and everything was super symmetrical, and the game was probably in the worst state it had ever been. And then, like, a couple years later, people sort of forget what that was like. And they start making effects a little more wacky, and then they complain that the game isn't perfectly balanced. So much not like Storybook. Decks are pretty consistent. There's 25 card decks, you see 16 cards over the course of the game, and there's cards you can play to improve the odds even more. Yeah, it's also just a different genre. Do anytime in the last year. Nah, last I played was November. Well, yes, last I played was like November, but that was basically when I had switched to full-time Storybook. This have more in common with Super... Yeah, this game has more in common with Super Auto Pets. Magic's game rules also... Like... It's hard to have this discussion with people that aren't as familiar with Gwent, but like Gwent's game rules do make experimentation kind of hard. There's like a pretty narrow axis where you can interact with the opponent, so any deck that like minimizes the impact of that axis feels pretty bad to play against. Because there's no, like, combat. There's a couple different types of removal, and you play one card a turn, and you have one pass button that you can press per game. So a lot of unique strategies tend to either require you to interact in very different ways from the rest of the game, and people don't like that, or are difficult to interact with in general and require you to play a specific card or type of card that you wouldn't play for other matchups. Sporco. Yeah. Could have taken the Vulture, but I think this is easier to build around for now. Especially with the upgraded Good Witch. They both want Princess Peep. Vulture sort of demands exactly Princess Peep, where Godmother can find, like, Juliet's. Yeah, I think the biggest way that Magic solves it, and like most other card games solve it, is by giving you a way to end the game early, right? Like there's a face that you just punch enough times and then your opponent loses. Where Gwent didn't really have that. Doesn't really have that. And on one hand, that's like something that people praise the game for. That's like a cool thing about the game. But on the other, it's a pretty big axis of interaction that you're losing. Do something. Basically just for Godmother value. I think the grind is required. Depends what you mean. What grind? I felt it was usually pretty easy to get decks together, but then again, I had infinite resources since beta. Just from playing so much. Really? Huh. Didn't usually hear anything bad about progression in the game. Yeah. For Sporko. I almost want to just buy a random Puff Puff. That's pretty good. It's going to 5 next turn. I really don't want to be Court Wizard Loki. That's a special type of miserable. Yeah, I usually hear Hearthstone Gwent mentioned in the same vein as like Legends of Runeterra for games that have a great free-to-play path. I didn't really play enough Runeterra to get a good feel for it, but I've been told Runeterra is very generous. Pretty insane buffs. So now I've got the issue of where do Godmother boards go? You're pretty good through 4 and 5-ish. But especially on Loki, what are we doing? It's pretty hard to pivot Good Boy when you can't cast spells. Oops. Word. I'm gonna lock this just so I can fancy pants it. Yeah, I really shouldn't have bought the chickens. Locking fancy pants. Pretty nuts. Donkey donkey. This has got a box. Oh my god, I'm going to 6 next turn. That escalated quick. I'm ready for Donkey Comp. a thing, right? You just mass produce 6s. What could go wrong? Godmother pivot into Bearstein Baby Bear. It can, yeah. It's probably the most realistic direction for Loki, especially now that we've got the Ring of Rage. That helps a lot. Give Morgan some good scaling. Can I kill Morgan? Yes, I can. It's 5-1. I want to get the fancy pants on it. This lock's good anyway. $50 for it to live. Just enjoying it more, I guess. So this board's a weird one. It's 5.2. Nobody else is on 6. Peter Pants really likes to emote. Kinda need the attack from this. Drop the Godmother, maybe. $4-4 on Good Boy is worth more than the fancy pants. Echo. Probably, especially now that I've got the spear. It's better than the donkey. Probably. No. The ghost deck of many things to me. So the good boy doesn't die first. Gross. Can I interact with Echo? I don't think so. Do not know what the Waddle's doing, but they've been feasting for a while. I could have played the Robin. The Robin might have been good. think the Echo might be a little better than the Donkey, unfortunately. As good as the Donkey is. No, I definitely can. Definitely can. And I'm glad I did. Okay, so... beating deuces. Don't need the attack so much. Like, Echo might not even be good. Probably good enough. I don't know. I don't know if it goes in if I pair it. Okay, should be good. Whee! Donkey power. That was certainly a game.